By the year 5000, humanity had conquered the stars, stretching its reach to the furthest edge of the known universe. But what they discovered out there wasn't empty space. It was life, very unexpected. It was alien and ancient. In this distant future, mankind no longer dreamed of space travel, they lived it. A galactic empire now ruled the Milky Way, its authority unquestioned. The empire was held together by three identical rulers, who were clones of the original Emperor Cleon, known as Brother Dawn, Brother Day, and Brother Dusk. But even empires that stretch across galaxies are vulnerable to time. On the outer rim of the galaxy lies Terminus, a remote planet once ignored, now the focal point of destiny. Terminus is home to the Vault, a strange alien artifact surrounded by a force field that repels human approach. Children dare each other to get close. Headaches, dizziness, and unconsciousness follow the brave, or the foolish. One boy gets too close and collapses. Panic erupts. But Salvor Hardin, the warden of Terminus, arrives just in time to carry him to safety. Salvor is a mystery even to herself. Some say she's immune to the Vault's field. She denies it, but something deeper stirs within her. Elsewhere, Gall Dornick, a brilliant young mathematician, escapes her oppressive home world of Synax, where religion outlaws science. Before leaving, she undergoes a painful ritual, removing gemstone implants, symbols of devotion she no longer believes in. Her prize, a once-in-a-lifetime chance to study under the legendary Hari Seldon, creator of the predictive science called psychohistory. Her departure is bittersweet. Her family remains behind, tied to faith, unable to follow her into the unknown. On board the ship to Trantor, capital of the Empire, Gall meets Roch, a kind and curious man who helps her navigate life among the stars. During hyperspace jump, everyone is placed in stasis pods. Waking mid-jump is rare and dangerous. Yet Gall awakens briefly, glimpsing something strange, something she can't explain. She finally arrives on Trantor, a planet-spanning city and heart of the Empire. Soldiers carry coffins, casualties of conflicts on the galactic fringes. She rides the space elevator to the surface, stunned by the Empire's scale. Meanwhile, the youngest clone, Brother Dawn, is still learning statecraft under the mentorship of the elder Brother Dusk. At this time, Cleon XII reigns as Brother Day, stern, commanding, and intolerant of dissent. When he learns that a citizen read a forbidden text questioning imperial rule, he orders the man's public execution without hesitation. At a formal banquet, the three clones debate policies of war, peace, order, and the cracks forming at the Empire's edge. Two delegations from feuding border planets arrive. Young Brother Dawn is given his first taste of leadership. He suggests a surprisingly wise solution, his first step toward becoming a ruler. Meanwhile, Gall meets Hari Seldon's adopted son, Roch. They share a connection, but Gall is drawn more to psychohistory than to romance. When she visits the Great Library, she learns it's scheduled for demolition. Hari gifts her a rare book, a relic of a vanishing age. Then, Hari tells her the truth. The Empire is doomed. His calculations predict collapse within centuries, followed by 30,000 years of chaos. The Empire won't let such a message spread. Hari knows he'll be arrested. And now Gall, by association, will be too. She doesn't run. Instead, she prepares for the storm. Back at the palace, the clones receive gifts from the rival planets. One brings a bow crafted without metal, a cry for help. The other delivers a weaponized threat trapped in culture and symbolism. Brother Dawn is unsure how to respond. Brothers Day and Dusk guide him toward resolution. Elsewhere, Gall seeks a seer, a prophet hoping for a less grim future, but the vision she receives is equally bleak. Doubt creeps in. Has she made a mistake coming here? By dawn, Hari and Gall are arrested, charged with treason for daring to speak the truth. At trial, Hari doesn't defend himself. He explains, the Empire will fall. Only through the creation of a foundation, an archive of knowledge, can humanity survive the coming Dark Age. Many scoff, but Gall understands. He's right. In secret, Roch reveals himself as more than a friendly face. He's an Imperial agent. He offers Gall a choice: discredit Hari claims psychohistory is flawed, and live, or stand by him and share his fate. She chooses truth. At sentencing, she confirms Hari's model. The courtroom erupts. The Emperor is furious. He spares their lives, but only to exile them beyond the galactic core, tasked with founding this so-called foundation. What begins as punishment becomes the start of a revolution. That night, a catastrophic act of sabotage shakes the Empire. Terrorists breach the Starbridge and detonate Trantor's iconic space elevator. The massive structure collapses, killing millions in a single horrifying moment. Witnessing the devastation, Brother Day reconsiders his stance. Rather than executing Hari and Gall, he chooses to spare them. During their heated conversation, Gall speaks with passion and precision, convincing Day that silencing Hari would only speed up the Empire's demise. Moved by their words, Day agrees to the creation of a foundation, but it comes with a price. Rather than allow them to remain within the core worlds, he exiles them to the remote and barren planet of Terminus. It's a calculated move to preserve Hari's knowledge while eliminating his influence. Decades later, Salvor Hardin, now a grown and fearless guardian, decides to test the legends about herself. Under cover of night, she climbs the mountain to the mysterious vault. Pushing through its magnetic barrier, she becomes the first person to physically touch it. Back on Trantor, the Emperor launches a relentless investigation into the Star Bridge bombing. Millions dead, and no one to blame. Yet, Demerzel, the Emperor's trusted aide and the last known robot in existence, is tasked with uncovering the culprits. Her mission leads her to the dwarf planet Aphiuchus, a known hub for scientific minds. Tracing the explosives used in the attack to a lab there, Imperial forces raid the facility and execute everyone on site except for the lead scientist. Offered clemency in exchange for the mastermind's identity, the scientist confesses. But her lead proves fruitless, leaving Demerzel at a dead end, and the Emperor increasingly anxious. Meanwhile, Hari Gohl and a team of intellectuals journey toward Terminus aboard a slow-moving starship, preparing for a lifetime on a desolate world. In a quiet moment beside the ship's pool, Gohl teaches Raich, Hari's adopted son, how to swim. Their bond deepens, and a secret romance begins, hidden from Hari, who remains focused solely on the mission. Gohl throws herself into her work, training in different disciplines daily. Each morning she dons a new color-coded uniform and immerses herself in a different specialty. In one training session, she faces a simulated creature so terrifying that her reaction sparks a panic. Assistants fire at the monster, accidentally triggering an explosion. Thankfully, it's only a simulation, but the incident reveals how unprepared they still are. Gohl later discusses survival probabilities with Hari. His math is sobering. 1/3 may not survive the landing, and many more could perish soon after. Gohl is shaken, but Hari remains detached, frustrated by the crew's growing familiarity with him. Back on Trantor, the Emperor interrogates the ambassadors of Anacreon and Thespis, to frontier worlds whose languages match the terrorists. Though they deny involvement, the Emperor refuses to believe them. Lacking a clear culprit, the Empire needs a scapegoat. The ambassadors are made to suffer as punishment for a crime they may not have committed. Later, Brother Dusk attempts to paint a mural, but notices tremors in his hands, a sign of his aging and decline. Troubled, he visits a seer in the city's ruins to confirm whether Hari's predictions are true. The seer confirms the worst. Gohl isn't a prophet, but both she and Hari are correct. The Empire is dying, and its fall is closer than anyone wants to believe. Meanwhile, Gal visits a doctor to preserve an embryo, hoping to one day have a child once the future feels more certain. The doctor tells her some colonists have chosen to carry pregnancies to term despite the risks. She speaks with one such woman, who explains that motherhood gives her purpose, even on the brink of disaster. Her courage strikes a chord in Gohl. Later, Hari hints that he knows about Gohl and Raich's relationship, which unnerves Gohl. But more troubling are the errors in her calculations. Critical numbers missing, like pieces of a shattered equation. Raich urges Gohl to find the missing variables. Her mind may be their only hope of correcting a potentially fatal miscalculation. Back on Trantor, Brother Dusk hosts a diplomatic dinner with the ambassadors. He puts on a charming front, promising leniency if they cooperate. Brother Day and Dawn observe from afar, assuming Dusk has grown soft in his age. But they're wrong. Dusk is playing a long game. When diplomacy fails, Dusk drops the act and shows his true face, stern, vengeful, and ready to crush those he believes responsible for the attack. At dawn, the Emperor delivers a brutal decree. He sentences all those who accompanied the ambassadors to death and initiates orbital strikes on their home planets. The skies rain fire upon Anacreon and Thespis, leaving millions dead in the wake. Dawn struggles to comprehend his elder brother's ruthless judgment, but Demerzel insists such hard decisions are sometimes necessary to preserve order. Meanwhile, Gohl's earlier warnings begin to resonate with Hari. Moved by a desire to reconnect with humanity, he heads to the laundry quarters and surprises the workers by addressing each of them by name, recognizing their unsung contributions to the mission. During dinner, Hari attempts to bond with Ra, but the conversation falters. Ra, though raised by Hari, is adopted, and his emotional loyalty still belongs to his biological father, creating a barrier between them. Gohl reassures Ra, promising a shared future and children of their own. That night, Gohl feels a deep sense of unease and finds Ra attacking Hari. As Hari bleeds out, Ra urges her to flee. He seals her in a pod, tosses her a blood-soaked knife, and jettisons her into space. Centuries earlier, Emperor Cleon I had a grand vision to complete a space elevator that would link the heavens to the Empire. But as his body weakened, he refused to hand power to a single heir. Instead, he established a cloning cycle of 3, dawn, day, and dusk, ensuring an eternal dynasty. Demerzel, who once loved Cleon, committed herself to preserving his genetic rule. 19 years after the attack on the Star Bridge, Dusk, now aged and nostalgic, resembles the original Cleon more than ever. Demerzel sees it too and feels pity. His time is almost up. As someone new rises, Dusk begins preparing for euthanasia. Before departing, he reflects on his legacy, realizing he has achieved little compared to his predecessors. He fears being remembered only for his friends. The remnants of Cleon's grand elevator still loom dangerously over the world. Dusk joins Dawn and Day for a final flight to observe the decaying structure before its destruction. They mourn the past but promise to rebuild something meaningful in his memory. That night, Dusk secretly visits the cloning lab. There, he sees a newborn clone and is struck by the truth of Hari's words. No one should witness their own birth. It reveals the emptiness of their cycle. Back in his quarters, Dusk paints one final fresco, his legacy, and prepares for the end. By morning, the roles shift. Dawn becomes day, day becomes dusk, and dusk passes into twilight. With a final farewell, the old Dusk is cremated. 14 years later, the new Dawn commands that the fresco be erased, rejecting the legacy of his predecessor. Meanwhile, the remaining Foundation settlers, despite the loss of Hari and Gaul, choose not to turn back. They land on Terminus, carrying Hari's vision forward. Upon arrival, they encounter something unexpected. A strange, invisible magnetic force surrounding an ancient repository. It repels anyone who approaches and fills them with dread, prompting the settlers to establish their base at a distance. 3.5 decades pass. Salvor Hardin, born on Terminus, has grown into the colony's warden. From a young age, she's been drawn to the vault, the magnetic structure that doesn't repel her like it does others. Now, as an adult, Salvor confirms through experimentation that she alone can withstand the vault's field, which is steadily growing. If it keeps expanding, it could threaten the entire settlement. The settlers continue preserving knowledge, but resources are scarce. Salvor's mother and the other scholars argue daily over which knowledge must survive and what can be forgotten. Salvor shares her findings with her mother, who's baffled by the vault's growing power and fears its unknown consequences. Hugo, a thespian smuggler and Salvor's lover, returns to Terminus. After spending the night together, Salvor resumes her duties and spots a strange boy playing near a derelict ship. The boy vanishes into the wreckage, prompting her to pursue him. During her search, she scares off a predator with a warning shot. Looking skyward, Salvor sees an ominous light. Through a telescope, she and Hugo discover that 3 Anacreon warships are headed straight for them. The elders dismiss the threat, believing the Empire's embargo would prevent any such aggression. After all, Terminus is only a scientific outpost with no resources worth taking. Salvor suspects the real reason is the vault. Its increasing magnetic field must have drawn the attacker's attention. Hugo confirms this is indeed an invasion. The settlers try to contact the Empire, but find their communications equipment sabotaged. Salvor's mother shows her an artifact containing Hari's preserved equations, though their meaning is still unclear to Salvor. Later, while on patrol, Salvor sees the strange boy again and gives chase. She ends up on a wrecked ship where she finds an injured creature, only to be ambushed by hidden Anacreon soldiers. For me, Foundation delivers a visually stunning and intellectually bold introduction to a galaxy on the brink of collapse. We meet Hari Seldon, a mathematician whose theory predicts the Empire's fall and a coming Dark Age. His discovery challenges the ruling clones of the Galactic Empire. The episode sets a grand tone, blending science, prophecy, and power. With strong performances and thought-provoking themes, it raises questions about fate, free will, and whether the future can truly be predicted or changed. A promising start to an epic saga.